Can we get a sound check and video check, people? And hello.
When Prospector Trip ends his videos, peace, baby. Oh, I am not a crook.
Yeah, I would agree. Working 10-hour days will make food, well, psychologically, it will make food taste better.
Okay.
Hi, David. Hi, Wage Slave. Hi, Brian. Hi, Honey Bunny.
As you can all tell, I'm still here. Which, oh, turn on that light over there. Let me see my.
Why? You look fine.
Watch and see what happens.
You still look fine. Yo-yo.
Evidently, the lighting isn't accurate. I look as ugly as I am. So, I'm still here. Still feeling about the same, although yesterday I had another, I don't know if it's a back spasm or what, but anyhow, my back started hurting real bad, real sudden, for no particular reason again. So we just frolicked over to the hospital and had them checketh me out, and everything seems to be going okay.
Brian says no more heart problems. David Bia says you're one of the lucky ones.
Well, I agree with David. Brian, we don't know. There was clearly some damage done because my troponin levels were substantially elevated at the time of the incident, where they opened up the blood vessels, and that's an indication that heart muscle has been damaged. But my troponin levels are dramatically lower. I mean, last night, they took a troponin test again now. According to the doctor last night, who, by the way, I really liked. That guy was cool.
Dr. Coyle.
Coyle?
C-O-I-L. Like,
I tell
this
you,
kind of coil.
I tell you what. He was, first of all, he was pretty cool.
You know how Jason at Mount Baker Mining and Metals uses iron nails with soda to smelt sulfides? Why don't people use a thick steel pan like a large pipe and cap or something instead of an expensive crucible?
Well, your slag is designed to dissolve things like steel. So if you were to have a cast iron something or other, it's going to be sacrificial.
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying, is why not use a thick, large pipe and cap, etc., rather than an expensive crucible. Well, I will say this, Wage Slave.
Don't throw them away.
I will weigh in here on this because I have actually used iron a few times, and I have worked with a couple of high acid things, and my crucibles don't get damaged. So
yeah, if you got the proper flux,
if you use the proper flux and you do things right, your crucibles will put up with a whole hell of a lot of stuff. But as Brian says, yes, the heat will burn right through. David, yes, I have used an old cast iron pan to, to boil things and to roast things, and I've got a nice little cast iron skillet that's nice and rusted. That is a lab instrument. That's what it's sitting there for.
But anyhow, I would think if you were trying to get rid of Matt, it might work, but for a limited period of time.
Everyone has agreed that crucibles actually have a higher melting
point.
point.
Absolutely they do. Anyhow, so we went to the hospital last night to Dr. Coyle, who was pretty cool, and he and Eva hit it off real well. It was pretty hilarious.
Sad state of affairs when most people don't realize that Plavix is an anti-platelet action thing, not an anticoagulant.
So, anyhow, they hit it off very well, and it was kind of funny because she was asking the doctor questions and he was answering them, and that nowadays to save the doctor's time, they usually bring a scribe with them, i.e., someone who's got good typing skills who takes notes while they're doing stuff.
And they actually call them scribes. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And it was so funny because this young lady was she was smiling pretty wide too, and I was doing the same thing, trying to keep from breaking out, because it was an interesting interaction.
Well, Honey Bunny, normally I would not want him using Plavix either, okay? But we're still having some inflammation issues right now, and until I get him to the point where his, I want to get all his inflammation markers tested. And until I get him to the point that, where the platelets are not an issue.
Hey, Rob.
Butcher, hello.
Yeah. Long time no. I'm guessing you've been busy in Arizona or something.
Oh, he says he's got to let the ice and snow disappear for whatever he is.
Yeah. Okay, Brian.
And I sprouted it, and we sprouted it.
This is what we got the other day. It just turned out to be exactly 10.00 grams. But it sprouted so serious. I mean, that was a nice smooth bead when I turned off the furnace. Not exactly when it finally solidified.
Now, his accidental sprout was not as pretty as my deliberate sprouts get. Hello, Shane. But yeah, when it comes to the Plavix, until we get a handle on his inflammation, the Plavix is definitely staying in rotation. Hello, Chris. Chris Salsier's here.
Yes. I'm having a lecture read today.
Okay.
But anyhow, so
David Villa says it got pimples. Well,
yeah, pretty badly. Yeah.
I made a beauty once that had
Oh,
a lovely crystalline-looking tree branch that stuck off it. Really, really pretty.
But anyhow, so when I was in the first time, my troponins were at 5,000, whatever that means. And last night they were at 16. Not 16,000, 16 period. So apparently...
I wants to know from how much x-ray film.
That's an excellent question, Brian. I don't have a good answer because it was from a number of tests that I just had a bunch of beads and melted them together. I'm currently working on a 3 kilogram test. I've got it all digested and stuff. I will have a video up on that. But the methodology I used was a bucket with a bunch of holes in the bottom, and then I could put a full kilogram in the perforated hole bucket inside a solid bucket that had about 4 gallons of water in it, 3.5 to 4 gallons of water, and it was using about 500 cc's of concentrated bleach per kilogram digested. But I digested 3 kilograms in a row. Speed was fine, and it worked out well.
Lining up a neat blast and milling job soon. 2-foot wide vein, but runs around 1 ounce a ton. Need to open the road and clean it off first. Going to start with 1,000 tons.
Okay, now is this something you are doing for someone else or something you're doing for yourself, Rock? Sounds like a fun project.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Got to move about 2,500 tons of waste to pop it out first.
Yeah.
Brian says, did you stir?
Yes, I did. And because I didn't have a huge area with a lot of open space in the bottom of the bucket. So when I was done with one batch and I cleaned that out.
Someone else, but he gets a cut.
Cool,
Hey.
Rock. And then when I put the next batch in, then I would add the replenishment beach to the opening of the perforated bucket, stir it around in there. So there'd be little diffusion or mixing with the stuff in the bottom bucket, Okay. Let's see.
Brian says his stubborn film came up to a paintbrush.
Yeah, that's going to be slow.
Billy Ingram is here and says, good day, all.
Hello, Billy. I got an interesting project I'm working on. Rock. It's not a mining project, but next week, as a matter of fact, it's going to start the day of the uh, live stream, I'll be giving a class in extractive metallurgy to one or two gentlemen. It's unclear. It may be one for most of it and another one at certain times or whatever. But they've got a project in a third world country that they stumbled into. It's got pretty good economics, but they want to try and improve the extraction and the milling processes, and they're uneducated in that. So it's my job to give them a basic education in a hurry. And they're bringing samples up here. I do not know how much, if any, I will be able to videotape. They seem to be fairly nice people and stuff. I'm guessing I will probably have a reasonable opportunity to videotape stuff and everything, but it's going to be really interesting because they've got a real mill and a real mine that's got real questions that we have to answer in the real world. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I'll see what I can do to do that, Rock. However, I'm also documenting the whole gold extractive metallurgy for dummies thing. I'm writing it all down into a book, basically a handbook, etc. And I will be happy to give you a free copy of that, Rock, once I get it all put together.
Rock says, do they need a real geologist? Well, ask them.
They very well might.
They very well might, and if they do, you will be the first person we recommend anyway.
I will let you know.
Wage Slave wants to know when's the Hard Rock University Third World Cruise and how much for the tickets. David says tickets is going fast.
That certainly is indefinite at this time because we're sticking close to the country for the moment, especially with my health issues. Eva seems to be healing up pretty well from her surgery, so that's a good thing. I don't know if you know, Rock, but I had a heart attack about 10 days ago.
Rock says he's your huckleberry.
Okay. That was always a weird phrase from that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it was supposed to mean.
Rest in peace, Val.
You know?
Nobody appreciated his best movie ever in all the comments I saw. Everybody was talking about that stupid comment and Top Gun. And it's like, people, the best thing he ever did was The Doors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, so I say things are kind of up in the air right now, Rock, but one thing I definitely don't want to do is get too far from a hospital at the current time.
Billy Ingram says sign him up for the book.
Okay. Once I get it whipped into shape, I'll be happy to let everyone know, and for all of our regulars here, I'm thinking of selling it for $100. For our regulars, I'll give a steep discount, for that.
And this is not just an ordinary print book. It's got flow charts and everything with it, And
Yeah.
Rock says he didn't know that. Glad to see you're on the right side of the grass. Yeah.
Yep.
He scared the living daylights out of me. Dude's now got two stents in one artery in his heart, and it turns out the other one is seriously blocked too. And it turns out it's been that way since he had his aorta, and those assholes down in Tucson never told us.
Yeah.
Rock says he'd be happy to pay for that.
Well, if you wish to, that'll be fine. Once I get it whooped into shape, Chris helped me a lot with a couple suggestions. Because one of the problems when you don't do structured teaching of a particular subject over time is there are certain things that I know intuitively that the student doesn't necessarily. So, did you put the...
John says, Keith and or Eva, do you put the used resins back in circulation or they need something done with it first? John, in answer to that, they do need to be regenerated, and we have used a procedure for regeneration that was given to us by the Max Water people because these are, they're sold for water treatment systems. But the one time we tried, we had about 25 or 30% less recovery before it showed as loaded.
Yeah.
And they never got back to the right color. So I'm thinking that it did not, there's got to be another way to remove the iron that's getting stuck in them, because there's a metric crap ton of iron that's still stuck in them.
Yeah.
So for the meantime, we're keeping them.
And yeah, there should be a way to thoroughly regenerate it, like they do in water softeners. Goes through hundreds of cycles, but we haven't found it yet. So anyhow, as I say, OxyClean might work for all I know.
Well, I will be happy to try that, Brian.
Okay. But anyhow, so one of the things that Chris brought up is something called the mass balance analysis. Okay. And it's one of those situations. I have no idea if that would work. We didn't try it, John.
What I was
Theoretically,
thinking
it's supposed
is,
to be
I was thinking of
basic.
trying iron out, since they're
I
full of
don't
iron.
know. We'll worry about it later. It's so cheap, we just use fresh each time. But anyhow, so what's really, really important is when you're analyzing something, you don't just use the grade. Go to the whiteboard view, little one. Okay. On the whiteboard here, is that visible? Can you read that?
Yes.
Okay. For my book, I went and came up with a hypothetical situation. Okay. You're feeding 1 ton per hour at 0.72 ounces per ton. You're recovering 62 pounds an hour of concentrates at 18.95 ounces per ton, and you're recovering 1,930 pounds of tailings at 0.036 ounces per ton. Okay? Now, if you take 0.72 minus 0.36, you get a 0.68648 divided by 0.72. Looks like you're getting 95% recovery. But that is not the case in this example. There's a couple confounding factors which I deliberately didn't state so that you could demonstrate why they're important as part of the exercise. So, to all you wonderful students out there, what are 2 factors that I've left out of this, or that you think I might have left out of this? Okay? Any questions? Hi, Mr. Lodak.
He's giving you all time to answer here.
That's right. The teacher is waiting for students to.
And they all have their hands up. You just can't see them.
You, in the back.
Yeah.
Type your answer. Does anyone have any idea why that number is radically off? Okay, so there's 2 significant confounding factors there that the inexperienced might not notice.
I smashed that already, the like button, and Honey Bunny says too dumb to read minds, and Wage Slave says astrology, and Brian says any other elements in the cons.
No, it's not an elemental issue at all. I give you about 30 more seconds, see if anyone comes up with anything.
Penalty metals.
No.
No.
Okay.
Other stuff that's not gold. Mainly because the ratios don't include the separation of the cons.
Not specifically, but here's a major confounding factor that a lot of people don't necessarily take the time or effort to deal with. What's the moisture content of all of these? When you send something off for an assay, let's suppose I get a bucket and I put the cons in there and I kind of drain them off and it's 62 pounds. When I send a sample of that to the lab, they do something to it before they weigh it. They dry it. That's because you have to do all your weighing on dry materials. Okay? moisture content's pretty significant. In this case, tailings can run up to 25% moisture content. Really carefully filtered and vacuum filtered tailings, you can get it down to maybe 10% moisture content. So I put in a 15% moisture content. So all of a sudden, that 62 pounds times 0.85, 62 times 0.85. Yeah, there we go. That's the number I remember. Actually becomes 52.7.
I guess I never thought of not drying it, so I never imagined you'd be measuring it wet. Brock just got back from the sink.
Okay, so if you got 1,930 pounds, how would you dry 1,930 pounds of tailings? Be pretty hard, right? So that's actually 1,640.
Brock says,
Right.
Moisture is one factor for sure. It throws a real spin into my month-end reconciliation at mines.
Exactly. So anyhow, what you do is something like concert tailings is you would take a sample, weigh it, dry it, and then do it. Now the feed tons are dry. That's run of mine ore. It's not when moistened. Okay, so I'm figuring just a few percent moisture content for that, although that's also not stated. But these things here, if they come from a laboratory, that's ounces per ton dry. It has to be. Okay? So when you do this, and then you add that together, you get 1640 plus 52.7. You got 1692, or call it 1694. God damn it.
Hold on a second here. Honey Bunny says, if I've got tons of ore being run all the time, I've got a roasting drying oven, a rotating drying oven.
Yeah.
Rock says, I don't know what mines you've worked at, but the ones I work at, the feed is wet.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that.
Not around here. So anyhow, this is 307 pounds. Okay? 307 pounds has disappeared. Okay?
This is the open pit experience skewing his results.
Desert rat, too. Okay? Even underground, I get a lot of dust where I'm at. It's pretty dry out here. You know, when I'm digging even at Montana B, 40 feet under, it's still
Honey
dusty.
says if she wanted wet measure, she'd measure it as a slurry, 100% saturation.
Yeah. But anyhow,
Either way, you have to factor in.
exactly. You have to measure that. Okay? So if you got 307 pounds of slimes, stuff that's too fine to settle, and 1693 here, you do the thing there, actually what you're getting is about 0.5 here. Okay? 0.5 ounces instead of the 0.72 you started out with. You're only, this whole thing wound up the way I did the sample as about a 67% recovery. And this is why you can't just rely on grade. Okay? Grade is only one part of the factor. It's grade times weight. Okay? And so that's what they call a mass balance equation. Let's just take the first one. You got 2,000 pounds at 0.72 equals 0.72 ounces of gold. That's pretty intuitive there. But now we got 52.7 pounds at what was it, 18 something? 18.6, I'll just make up a number here. Ounces per ton. Well, if you just multiply those two numbers together, which you would never do if you know what you're doing, 52.7 times 18.67. Yeah, 52.7 times 18.67. Gosh, 983 ounces.
Brian says, well, you take a 15% hit just shipping to the mill. Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes they will do it for that. But what we
Rock says, yes, if it's really wet, yes, indeed.
So what I've deliberately made a mistake here is this is ounces per ton, and this is pounds. These are not the same. So you've got to take the 52.7 divided by 2,000. That's not right. 52.7 divided by 2,000. Okay. That equals 0.02635 tons. Now you can multiply that times this.
Wage Slave says, I once left a bucket of slimes in the sun a few weeks and decanted. After the cake dried out a few days later, I flipped it over to discover a nice layer on the bottom.
Yeah, could easily be. So that times 18.67. And now we wind up with 0.492. And now it becomes obvious that our recovery is really, really low. But you have to, in each fraction you're dealing with, find out how much gold is in that fraction. Okay? So, what you have to do is take the dry weight of each fraction in the same units as your assay report comes back, multiply it out, get the actual gold in that fraction, and figure out where
Now, I
it's
do have a
going
question for you on this regard.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to me and the resin beads,
Yeah.
okay? Oh, Rock says, at the Lac des Îles mine, I used to call the mill engineer and ask if he was ready. On yes, I'd email my estimate and he'd send me his. Once we were exactly in concurrence. I almost had a heart attack. That's unheard of.
So who
Now-
got to pay who?
I tested my slimes after removing cons of mag belt, and the mag belt got it all. Cool. Now, Bear.
Uh-huh.
So, when I assay my resin beads,
Okay.
I take 2 samples and I weigh them very carefully, and they're wet, you know,
Okay.
and they are weighed to exactly 25 grams.
Wet.
Wet.
Okay.
Then I leave them drying until they both weigh 12.5 grams.
Okay.
So that is appropriate for my mass balance, correct?
Well,
I'm trying for identical samples.
yes.
Okay.
But I mean, what are you? So you're actually recovering the total amount of gold that's recoverable
Yeah.
by your methodology. So you're winding up directly at this answer here.
Yes.
You know, the mass balance means you're extrapolating that. Let's suppose you had a 333 gram cartridge.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start with your 25 out of 333 wet.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever that fraction is. 25 divided by 333. Okay, so 0.075, so 7.5%.
Yeah, 2 of those.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What I care about is what you get. And then you get so many grams
Yeah.
recovered. So from one of those, you get how much? Roughly.
Couple of grams.
From a 25 gram sample?
Oh, no.
Yeah. From a 25 gram sample, how much would you get once you dried it, smelted it?
It was like a tenth of a
Okay.
little bit.
So 0.1 gram. Okay. So then 7.5 divided by 100. 100 divided by 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd multiply each side by 13.3.
Yeah.
And so you would wind up with 1.33 grams in 100%. Okay. And that would be wet weight, you know? So your whole cartridge should be holding about 1.33 grams.
Yeah.
Okay?
Which actually, I mean, that, like I said, that number is, you know, I mean, the smallest bead I ever got is 1/10 of a gram. I have gotten beads as large as a gram.
Yeah. It ought to be, this number here ought to be, under ideal conditions, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 grams.
Yeah.
No, 3 or 30? 30.
Yeah, I know.
We're getting a lot of
31.1.
other stuff crowding
Exactly.
in that thing, but you have to do a mass balance. Don't worry about grade. Worry about your mass balance to figure out recovers. You know?
And that's one of the things that goes in that little PDF that I'm planning to put together with my math, with my lab paperwork.
But anyhow, that's really, really important.
They're talking about honey bunny's hematite right now.
I would think hematite would make good, decent thermite. If you ground it up tight enough, it's iron oxide. That's all you need. So, let's see. Oh, had a report today that the New York Times said that China has now stopped shipping rare earths to the United States and rare earth magnets. I don't know if that is correct or not. If so, that's going to have some interesting effects. You can turn the thing to me again. I know it may break the camera. Oh well. So anyhow, so that's an interesting situation
That's
because
why I'm wanting to do all the thermocasting. John Faber says he still has so much to learn.
so do I.
Number one rule in the lab, weigh everything.
Take notes. Yeah,
Yeah, we all know how well that goes.
I agree, honey bunny. It's not the mining that's necessarily the problem; it's the processing. But we're going to, if that is correct, and if it stays, then we're going to have to do a crash program to fire up our own rare earth mining and refining, which we have the ability to do that.
And which we should have been doing already.
It's only the environmentalists that have kept us from taking care of our own stuff. Okay?
Wow.
You know,
That is a gorgeous.
at one
book
time,
right there.
Mountain Pass provided, I believe, most of the rare earth elements on Earth. You know, was it like about 50%? I may be mistaken. Anyone know the actual number? But yeah, rare earth elements are very important for a lot of electronics and magnets and things like that. But it's not like we don't have them or don't know how to refine them. Is there any difference, Rock?
Yeah. I was discussing NIMBYs recently on X with people, in between trashing Elon.
Isn't that pretty close to 100% overlap on a Venn diagram? Another thing I'm going to be doing here this week is I'm going to be going to the Forest Service and to the Montana Department of Environment or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. I have to look it up again.
Department of Environmental Quality.
Yeah. And see exactly what the situation is in terms of disturbance. Is there any permit required on a, land that you've, well, if there's no claim at all, is there any objection to using hand tools to make a small disturbance so that you can get some samples? And oh well, that's okay, Rock.
That's perfectly fine, Rock. Maybe y'all will start letting us import our dairy up there.
It's things are in flux right now.
The funniest thing I have seen come out of this was the liquor stores making a big to-do of stripping the shelves of all the American booze that they already paid for. I mean, that's a case where I would have put up a sign and said, "This is the last American booze you'll see." So I bumped my
50%
price up.
higher.
Yeah, I bumped my price up 15%. Grab it while it's still here. Yeah, that makes sense too, Rock. That makes perfect sense. Many, many things.
Oh yeah.
No, but that's what I thought was the funniest part. Watching the stores make a big deal of destroying stuff that they already
They
paid for.
destroyed it?
A lot of them claim to.
Claim to. Yeah, exactly. Now they're selling it on the black market for 20.
Hey, the ones that are north of us, honey bunny, we got 3 provinces that connect to 3 or 4.
Canada. To Montana.
Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. All 3 connect to us. If they want to. Yeah, Rock, I know. But you know what's funny about that, Rock? When we lived in Washington State, right south of the Canadian border, people from Canada used to flock over the border every day to buy dairy at the dairy in Linden. They'd buy gallons and gallons of milk and gallons of ice cream and stuff and pack them back over the border.
Oh yeah, they buy 20, 30 gallons at a time.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Every adult in the car could take like 10
And they
gallons
fill up their
across.
gas tank on the way back home too.
Yeah, that would be my thought, Rock. Also in Bellingham, Washington, they had a rollicking business in healthcare because if you had money, you didn't have to wait in line. You could get your healthcare taken care of right away. So the people who were being held up in line for the Canadian free healthcare system, if they wanted to, get it right away, they'd come to the United States and go to our doctors.
Yeah.
It was an interesting example of free
It was
markets at
funny
work.
shopping at the dairy store in Linden though. That
Oh, yeah.
dairy was amazing. They still had milk in glass bottles with a very high deposit on them, but they still had the glass bottles with the little caps, and it was not homogenized, so you get that nice thick cap of cream on the top. And, ooh, that was some good milk. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it has. I'm saying it's funny as heck that Canadians would drive over the border to get our milk. The people from British Columbia used to buy the milk in Washington
Because I
State.
think it was running about $4 a gallon at that time in the United States,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
and I think it was $7 or $8 a gallon in Canada. What's a gallon of milk cost right now in Canada, Rock?
Yeah, they bought it because it was cheaper. They also
It-
bought gas because it was
It
cheaper.
was definitely cheaper, exactly.
Personally, I thought it was fantastic. No.
It was also very good. What was the name of that dairy?
Oh, good grief.
I forget the name, but it was a local dairy.
Yeah, local dairy with Jersey cows. They did not use Holsteins. They used Jerseys.
Yeah.
Ooh, yummy.
I'm not sure if they did or not. All I know is people would come down and buy the crap out of it down there in Linden.
They
we would
had
go to
good
that
milk.
we would go to that dairy for stuff too, and I mean, people would. I mean,
Excellent milk.
if they had 2 or 3 adults in the car, the springs might have been squeaking, getting that stuff because it was only what was it less than 10 miles south of the border, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they made chocolate milk that was ooh. They made good chocolate.
Now costs about $5 US. That's about what it is right
Yeah,
here now,
we're
isn't it?
like 3 and something, I believe.
I'm not sure. It's not too
A
different than us
4-liter
right here
bag
right
of
now.
milk is $8 where John is.
Yeah,
John's in a part of the world where they have milk in bags.
4-liter bags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's actually quite common.
Really? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So back to what I was saying. So I'll be going to the Forest Service and the Montana Department of Environmental Quality to see what the current permitting rules are in terms of how much disturbance can you do under what conditions and what requires permits and what kind of permits and everything else. And I'll be informing everybody of what I find out on that subject in the next week or so. And that could be very important. I'm also expecting it to be kind of a rapidly changing thing right now on the federal level. I don't think Montana necessarily is going to be very dynamic, but the Forest Service it would actually surprise me if it wasn't fairly dynamic over the next 12 months. Because, as I say, the new administration is really putting a big change in emphasis on stuff.
Yep. That makes sense, Wage Slave.
Yeah. But anyhow, so I'll keep you informed on that, folks. And I'll let you all know how the film thing works out. Let me go get something here. Let's see how it's working right now.
Yeah, this X-ray film is really fun. We've been having a lot of fun with that. He will be right back, people.
Now that is from a small part. I was doing some testing. It appeared that using the dilute bleach as opposed to full strength bleach seemed to give me a little more of the silver chloride. And so it's been hard to...
Rock says he always thought they were 1 liter bags. He buys twice a week with 3 teenagers and have never looked at the volume. What I think is cool is that it's in bags.
Am I able to shred fast enough? Not really. The shredder isn't... The speed isn't the problem, is it overheats fairly quickly. And that thereby creates issues. But the whole idea of having the perforated bottom bucket and the shredded film seemed to work very well, because I could put it in the shred, in the bleach, stir it up, let it sit for a little bit. By a little bit, I mean like 5 minutes. Stir it up again, another 5 minutes or so. And by then, if the bleach was at a reasonable strength, it would be stripped. And then I would, basically let it drain out. Pick it up, let the liquid drain, set it back down, stir it up. Do it again a couple times to drain out the precipitates. Then I'd move it into a rinse bucket, do the same thing, then another rinse bucket, do the same. And that seemed to quite efficiently
Wage Slave, that's the point.
Out.
Butter in a bag would be handy, especially if it had like a squeeze top to it.
At room temperature it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At room temp, yes.
Yeah. But anyhow, so that methodology, Brian, seemed to be easily capable of doing, 1 kilogram per half hour easily, okay, and efficiently if you had it shredded, okay? Well, let's see. Yeah, Rock, we've been playing with some X-ray film. This is from a chiropractor's office. I take it, run it through a paper shredder, and then is reacted with bleach and strip the emulsion. And then you wind up with silver and silver chloride.
Well, that is a point. If you had a decent thickness bag that was that the seal would hold on, that you could stuff all that in and throw the liquid in.
Yeah, but then how do you separate the liquid from the solids easily? With the perforated bottom bucket, it's just kind of like,
well, if the
if you're
periscope just
frying
has a
French
little tiny film on it, or little holes in it, you shake the bejeebers out of it and play around with it, and then you just open it up and pour out the liquid. And
there's all kinds of things you can do, but the thing is you want to separate.
Honey Bunny says cement mixer. Yeah, that's actually what I have.
Sure it would, but then again, the question becomes, how do you separate the film shreds from the solution and the precipitates easily. I say, with the bucket, it worked pretty simple because you could do it and then rinse it and then rinse it again. And man, those shreds were clean. Well, if it's shredded, it wouldn't matter, Brian.
He said, yeah. Did you go back to the Street Tips videos? He just broke the silver free with bleach, leaving the acetate behind.
Yeah, basically, that's what we used, and it worked better than the nitric acid. It was a lot cheaper and easier. Plus, the nitric acid gave us silver nitrate as an intermediate product, whereas this gives us silver and silver chloride. And the method Street Tips used to reduce the silver chloride to silver, it was really, really kludgy. But I had another methodology that I, got the information decades ago, where you just take a little bit of
Honey says
ferric
there's
chloride.
green wire mesh.
I know, little one. Give me a chance to finish my sentence before you start something else. But anyhow, so by getting silver and silver chloride and then reducing the silver chloride, you use a little bit of ferric chloride, and then you add steel wool. And that's what reacts with your silver chloride to form metallic silver. Then the metallic silver, that smelts down just fine. Okay? You could use a colander. You want something that doesn't react with the bleach, but that, plastic colander would be easy. I don't know if a stainless steel would have a problem. But yeah, it seems to work pretty good at stripping using the bleach. The cost in reactant chemicals that are consumed is about 1/4 of the value of the silver that you recover. And so that works out pretty well.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've been going through Street Tips' videos again because, we got all that copper nitrate that needs to turn back into copper so I can get my nitric acid
back. Yeah.
I cannot wait to do that. And I really want to at some point, now that we're making pretty silver, at some point, I really want to get that silver cell thing. I want to make crystalline silver attached to a bowl.
Those are really pretty.
Those are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Find like a sterling silver bowl or something at the thrift shop or at an antique shop and use that to grow the silver in to make a silver garden. Because Street Tips makes some amazingly pretty crystalline silver.
I think what you'd probably be best to do with something
it.
like that, if you wanted to, is take a very shallow silver bowl and lacquer the other side so that nothing grows there.
Yeah.
And then put it in like a plastic bowl.
Yeah.
So that you could also lacquer right around the edge so that it has a boundary, and then you could grow the silver inside that.
Yeah, that's basically what I want to do.
Cool.
And yeah, Brian, you do get good money for crystal silver, but I just want to grow some in a bowl. I want to grow. Remember when we were kids? They sold that crystal garden kit that they still
What
sell.
What did they call those?
They called it a crystal garden
Really?
kit, where you get the thingy and you'd grow the crystals. You'd grow a crystal garden in your little container. I want to make a silver garden inside a little sterling silver bowl.
Yeah, honey bunny. Exactly. Yep. And so the plan was, I think you put sulfuric acid.
And then you plate out the copper.
Then you plate out the copper.
And the nitric acid.
And then you boil off the nitric.
Yeah,
you distill off the nitric.
Yeah, and then you get your sulfuric acid back too.
So, I say right now we're just stockpiling the copper nitrate that we make, mainly from Eva, parting beads and such. But yeah, the bleach seemed to work much better than the nitric acid, but you still have to reduce the silver chloride. But with that other method, it's pretty simple to do. We seem to get pretty good recoveries.
As a matter of fact, I just recommended Street Tips' videos to a couple of people this week because he does amazing videos.
Yeah.
The
So
videos are great.
I say it worked pretty good. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to get with this batch here, but I'm hoping.
Wage slave, I never figured out whether he changes it arbitrarily when it gets too blue. I mean, I know what color, mine gets to. Mine gets deep.
So I got 2.2 times.
I do not know whether he
Equals-
changes it arbitrarily, but
Now we should get somewhere around a half an ounce of silver. I haven't had a good result with that, Brian. How good a recovery percentage do you get?
it turns to soda ash in the smelt. Yeah, I would. Baking soda will turn to soda ash.
Yeah, but what does that do to the silver chloride? We had a lot of problems smelting the silver chloride directly. It really didn't like to convert to metallic silver.
Yeah, I actually prefer to convert it first.
That's
I like things to be in a less volatile form.
Yeah, that's why we convert it to silver before we smelt. Silver chloride is tricky. Silver is not.
So the bluer the electrolyte, yeah, pretty much. When it's deep, deep blue, it is full. It is fully copper nitrate.
Well, and when Eva's dissolving the silver in the parting acid, that parting acid gets so much silver nitrate that it starts crystallizing.
Yeah, I start getting feathers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you always got to test everything, in fairly standardized manner, Brian.
Oh, wow.
What?
Climate change is causing people to commit suicide.
Bummer. So let's see, China rare earths, H2 employed X-ray class. Yeah, I say next week I'm busy, and yeah, I went to the ER, but it wasn't any big deal. Those are the major things. Oh, and still not sure what I'm going to be doing. It'll work. It's real messy.
Oh, and apparently
You wind up with a bunch of other stuff too.
Trump's racism and policies make black women obese.
Oh, okay.
There's been a study.
Yeah, that's why the ferric chloride steel wool is a lot simpler and cleaner than the sugar and sodium hydroxide.
I loved doing that experiment though, Rock, with the lye and sugar, and I got it on the inside of the beaker that time. We got a video on it. He doesn't remember, but I was like, that is so cool. I want to do that again.
Okay.
Brian says his plate silver did well. No copper or nickel in the end product, but did get a trace of gold in it. Yeah. Well, we don't recover the chlorine usually.
I say it just did the same job a whole lot cleaner, a lot easier. I mean, you take a smidge of ferric chloride, like if you had, I don't know, 10 or 15 pounds of silver chloride, you put in like a teaspoon of ferric chloride, and then just start adding steel wool and keep adding it till it stops reacting.
Huh. Interesting. Quite exothermic, a lot of energy in sugar. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it was a really cool experiment because when we did it on the video, when the winter lab was in Lauren's man cave, there he was stirring in the beaker, and the inside of the beaker got all mirror. I mean, I'm looking in the side of the beaker and it looks like a mirrored beaker. It was so cool.
There should not be any gold in the X-ray film. There's no reason for it to be there. So I would imagine it's not.
Wage Slave says, what about zinc chloride and zinc? They're talking
what?
about getting chloride back or something. Why you'd want to, I don't know, but
Yeah, I'm not sure what the zinc and zinc chloride would be for, Wage Slave. I'm just confused as to what the question is precisely.
Probably looking at gold. There's three or four conversations going on at the moment,
Yeah.
dude. Good luck.
So we just haven't had good luck smelting
Oh
silver
no.
chloride directly. What?
The FDA is fast tracking gave a fast track designation to the bird flu vaccine.
Yep, I don't want it at all. Not that mRNA. Nope.
I don't want any of them anymore.
Yeah, not until they figure out how to do it right. I don't think they can. I think it's inherently flawed. You know?
No, I mean at this point, they've already proven that they
Well,
can.
they certainly can't be trusted.
Yeah.
But I say I don't think the technology makes sense. I was Dr. Campbell and Angus Dalgleish were discussing. I said when you have the mRNA program your body to make the spike protein, depending on how well that is accomplished, you can have 1,000-fold difference in the amount of spike protein. So how would you like it if you were taking a pill and you might be getting half a milligram, or you might be getting 500 milligrams? That would make it kind of hard.
Zinc for your silver chloride to get your silver instead of iron.
Don't know if it would work. I know it would be a lot more expensive.
Are there people left to do? Oh yeah. The rumors that everything's been gutted are just about that. There have been a few department heads here and there that are saboteurs, like the interesting incident of Yellowstone Park deciding to get rid of supposedly the only person who knew how to unlock bathrooms. How you could only have one person in charge of keys and one person having the institutional knowledge to bust open a locked door is beyond me.
Yeah, I don't think the changes over here affect the people who develop vaccines. It's just the people who evaluate the safety of vaccines.
Well, the funny part about it, all the business people online started saying when the big freeze went on everything, they're like, this is what happens in a business. When you take over a business
that's failing,
there's a freeze on the books and all money moving stops and you get a reset to zero. I forget what they call it. And then you go through and you say, okay, well, this we need, that we need, that we need. And that's, I mean.
This one we need to change because it's inefficient, and that one can go out the window because we don't need it.
And we have a Treasury Department that doesn't put basic accounting codes on half of the money they send out the door. That's like sending blank checks in the mail. This doesn't work.
Yeah. No, I'd say it's a chaotic enough situation without the politics and the
without the media
and the media deliberately complicating the situation, so it's going to be a bit chaotic for a while, and hopefully things don't get out of hand. Say with it.
No, nobody's gone to Fort Knox yet. That'll be interesting if they ever do.
Yeah, I want to see that.
What I want to see is a random bullion assay done on random bars that are chosen by random people.
So,
because I don't trust any of the stuff that's in there, whatever happens to be in there.
Eva said something real funny the other day. We have this new attorney general called Pam Bondi. And she's a relatively attractive blonde. And she's always on TV every day. Every day she's on TV and stuff. But so far we've seen precious few arrests or announcements of that and everything. And so Eva called her a blonde-headed bimbo that's great at talking head. And I thought that was pretty hilarious.
I don't know if there's tunnels, but I do know that nobody's seen that gold in a hell of a long time.
Yeah. Well,
what I found interesting about Pam Bondi, like I said, is the fact that when she got tapped, you'd expect the Floridians to be going, yeah, our home girl, we're going to rock and roll. Now, they were all very suspiciously quiet, and then when you start digging into her policies, of course,
Well, I thought it was about the gold thing. The thing that was most suspicious to me is when Germany asked for its gold in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to be repatriated, and it took them like, what, 5 years, 6 years to repatriate the gold. If it was there, why would it take that long? And why did it have to be recast into brand new bars if they put it in bars, these bars there? Why can't you just say, here's your bars back? Something sounded awfully suspicious to me about that. Kind of like maybe the gold had been gone and they had to go scrounge up some new gold and cast it into fresh bars so nobody can tell where it came from. I don't know. Color me suspicious. I would think if I go to my safe deposit box and say, can I get my gold out of my safe deposit box, the bank would say, sure.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I just want random bullion assets.
Yep.
I want totally random soldiers to be bought in and blindfolded and told, go put your hands on a gold bar on camera, and then somebody picks up them and their gold bar and moves it over.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know.
Random bullion asset, 10% of the stuff.
It is really tumultuous times.
And speaking of metals,
Huh?
gold is currently at $3,210.10. Silver is at $32.20. Platinum is at $948. Palladium's at $935. And rhodium is at $5,225.
Hey, David, I like that.
Yeah, I'm panning as fast as I can. Pretty much.
Oh, yeah. So, let's say we got a lot of interesting stuff going on. I was over at Lawrence today earlier, and he's got some stuff lined up, but unfortunately, I'm in no condition to do much at the moment. Whether I may be in decent condition, but there's no way to tell that at this time, so I have to be very careful. I don't seem to be suffering any residual side effects because they got it opened up again so quickly, but we will not be able to tell, and for a while, so I have to be extremely cautious. So as I say, that's kind of my situation here, but I'm having fun writing the book, and up to 63 pages now, and 4 full page diagrams.
Yeah, they're really nice diagrams.
Little one,
Mm-hmm.
my other computer, all I have to do is put the power supply into it before I fire it up. It's ready to go, right? My old one?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, because that's got my CAD program on it.
We've got QCAD, yes.
Yeah.
We also have the QCAD on your solid state on your external drive because we were going to put it on here.
Really? How hard would it be to put it on, and do we need to put a new...
I could probably download it again right now to this computer, dude. It's not that hard.
Think that would be the way to go about it?
I mean...
That was a freeware, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we might have paid a small fee for it to...
I was kind of thinking it was a small
Yeah,
fee,
that's
but-
why we bought it over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But that would be the ideal thing to make the flow charts with. You can change the size and boldness of the text, and size and type of lines and all kinds of things. Line operator, yeah, that looked pretty cool. I agree, honey bunny. So, anyhow, so that's that, and doctors and stuff has pretty well kept me busy. That now that the weather's nice, I'm starting to do a few little more repairs around the house here, like the hose bibs in the front. They were leaking under the trailer just a little bit, so I'm gonna work on those and get them taken care of. And then we got the swamp cooler here I need to put in operation.
Is that near Fort Knox joke? I knew what you meant. The tunnels lead to Canada. Well, considering all the high quality gold products made by your mint up there, it wouldn't surprise me if you had all the good stuff. Given a choice by the way, given a choice over buying products made by our extortionate mint down here or buying your mint up there in Canada, I'm buying Maples all day.
As long as you don't have Chuck E3.
Exactly. As long as there's no Chuck the Third on them, I buy older stuff.
So,
And
anyhow,
the Royal Canadian Mint has amazing security features on their coin. Oh, it's beautiful.
yeah, we had a gentleman over here where we were doing a little hand panning and stuff, and he really wants to get his own gold mine, but I'm trying to emphasize to him that if you can't pan gold out of the crushed rock,
Hi, Red Wing.
at best you've got a complex ore that's going to be very difficult to deal with.
Homer bucket in a cement mixer with golf balls and X-ray shreds in it into. Oh, that might work. I can see that.
Well, I don't think you'd need the balls. Just if it's shredded.
Would stir.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, just stirring seems to work just fine. You don't have to get too radical on it that I noticed. Once you get enough bleach in there, it starts reacting. Sweet. Rock says, thanks, Eva. On the plus side, that 4.5 ounce specimen I blasted and bought from the company back in $2,000 for 1,600 is now worth 14K.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, Rock, seriously, I love Canadian coins. As a matter of fact, it's packed away right now, but I recently got an older silver dollar, one of your ones that was, I believe it was 80% at the time. But yes, I love Canadian coinage. All of the coins are beautiful. Real works of art up there.
Uh-huh.
Rock says it sits in a display case in his living room.
Yeah. 4.6 barrier between it and the room.
You know, a lot of people may not even know what it is. They think it's fake because it's so good.
Sometimes. Yeah, exactly. And there's a number of possibilities we're working in the future here. I'm not sure what the near future is, of course, because of my health. There's lots of opportunities, but how much I'll be able to take advantage of safely, I have no idea. Oh, really? So they contracted out to other countries too, huh?
Oh yeah. I could have told you that. They certainly do. And for the record, I try to keep a short list of the places that actually have their stuff made at Royal Canadian Mint, and if I see it, I buy it. That's like the Caribbean Bank, the Bank of the Caribbean, had Scottsdale Mint down there in Arizona make their coins for like the 25th anniversary, where they had a couple of commemorative coins that highlighted each of the islands down there.
Sure
Beautiful.
Accidentally
beautiful.
grabs this beaker of silver chloride when I'm thirsty.
Well, then why don't you give me that?
That's
and let me put it
okay.
someplace else?
I'm not going to do it accidentally. It's totally different size and shape. Although one time,
And what they did with coloration. The Royal Canadian Mint was the bleeding edge in producing top quality colorized coins. The crap that was being done everywhere else is nothing compared to the art of the Royal Canadian Mint. They wrote the book on creating colorized coins. Fantastic stuff. You've seen
I know they.
my Looney Tunes. Where is? Now I gotta see if I can find it. Show it off. I gotta find my baby.
I don't know. We shall see. Yeah. Anyhow, so say I'm expecting to do a lot of interesting things, but things are more nebulous than usual right now due to my health condition. So we shall see what we shall see. Because, yeah, I mean, I just have to be real careful. Rock says the Northern Lights coin is a real collectible now.
I haven't seen it in person. I've always wanted to.
We haven't seen it.
Not
Right?
in person. I've seen pictures.
If you got, oh, she's seen pictures? Okay. I was going to say, if you got one, take a picture and send it to Eva.
I've seen photos on the web, and my word, it is glorious. I have a couple of the Looney Tunes. One's colorized, one not. But you know, I mean, you've seen the only colorized coins that I own are RCMs.
John, what you do for the stripping solution, take a clean copper strip, put it in the stripping solution as it's circulating, and if you don't see any detectable gold plating after 5 minutes, your stripping solution is pretty clean. Okay? Yes, it's a real simple test.
No, and the other thing, I don't know if they're still doing it, but Canada was colorizing some of their ordinary coins that are just out and about there. And it's like, I love them. They make a lot of gorgeous money up there.
Yeah.
The current coinage doesn't have any valuable metals in it, but it's still very pretty stuff.
Okay? So yeah, that's real important, John, because how do you know that your cartridges have been thoroughly stripped or not?
Think of it. I think one of my campers.
That's a product of serendipity. When we were testing the temperature of our stripping solution, we had a stainless steel enclosed thermometer, and it plated gold to the stainless steel. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing this summer, Wage Slave. Oh, Trump is talking live about Fort Knox. Let us know what he says, honey bunny. Give us a synopsis. That could be cool. But, yeah, I just really don't know, Wage Slave. You know? So far, I haven't run any problem. I'm being very careful not to exercise very hard. Doing the normal stuff I do that wouldn't really, like crawling under the trailer to look at the plumbing and stuff like that, no problem. You know? So, I have no idea how much damage has been done to my heart. At this point, I haven't run into it, per se.
John wants to know how many times the stripping solution can be used before a new solution is needed.
Okay. In our case, it seems to be about 10...
See you later, Rock Butcher. Say hi to your son.
You betcha, Rock. In our case, John, we usually get about 10 333 gram cartridges stripped out of 3.5 gallons of starting solution, and we seem to consume about 100 grams of thiourea for every 333 grams of resin stripped. But there comes a point where there's a lot of stuff in that solution. It just starts precipitating things, and so we take it out of circuit, you know. But we get about, let's say, 10 cartridges out of 3.5 gallons. 10 cartridges is what? 3 1/3 kilos?
Yeah.
So that's what we have done. I presume that your is going to be a little bit different because you're going to have a different ratio of co-ions in your stripping solution, whatever it is. I don't know what yours is, what ours is, but I guarantee you it's not identical. But that's what we have. Yes, there is a limit apparently, and I have a feeling it has to do with other stuff in the solution. And it's so cheap just to make new solution, we haven't worried about trying to recycle or regenerate or whatever. And the thiourea seems to be a consumable. There's also a certain amount of sulfuric acid that appears to be consumed. So, for what it's worth, we would get half an ounce, maybe a little bit more out of a complete 3.5 gallons of solution. So we're looking at 500, 600, or maybe more milliliters. Call it 1 liter of battery acid, which is 20, maybe $1. And then at 100,
Yeah, like about $1.30.
About 100 grams of thiourea. How much was the thiourea? Do you recall what the bag of that was?
No, I do not, but it was not exactly cheap.
It wasn't cheap, but it seems to me it was like $75 for a 50-pound sack.
No, it was over 100.
Over 100?
Yeah.
Okay, so $2 or $3 a pound then, huh?
Hi, Mr. Virtue.
Hello, Mr. Virtue. Oh, he's taking off now. Or something. Oh, Honey Bunny's leaving. Just got here. I'm so confused. But anyhow, so that's kind of our consumption job. And so we're getting over $1,000 in gold for $5 in consumable chemicals or something. Not bad. Not bad at all. But that's also where that copper strip test comes in well. When you got some new cartridges and you start trying to strip them and it just doesn't seem to be stripping, get some new solution. Yep.
Cody's lab that showed the manganese will dissolve gold in hydrochloric.
Is it manganese or manganese dioxide? I don't know. Yeah, if hydrochloric acid in any what?
Pickin. Somebody named Pickin says, at wage, I've done enough in my day for the honor, but an internship for knowledge about processing materials for my own claims and good company would be worth it. Hi, Pickin.
Okay. Well, I'm sitting here working on a book just for that, Pickin. I say I got a gentleman coming over for a 1-week tutorial at the house here, and so I was trying to put forth a document that would make it easier to take the information with him when he leaves.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be way too much to program your brain in 1 week.
John Faber says, perfect, thanks.
You're welcome, John. Happy to help.
And for the record, John, I'm still not 100% sure that the buckets of stripping solution we have around are, in fact, spoiled. We're trying to come up with a test for that shit.
Yeah. I know when we add lime to neutralize it, a lot of stuff precipitates out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, I presume there's a lot of other metal ions in there that kind of poison the solution. It may be something that if you were to use a carbon anode and continue electrolytically refining that solution, getting the ions out of it, you might be able to regenerate it pretty well. Simply don't know.
Test with gold leaf, Brian says.
it's a different situation, Brian. The stripping solution is taking the gold out of resin, which is not the same thing as dissolving gold in the first place. So there's different dynamics involved, and I have no idea if that would work. It might, but I say it's pretty easy to just test the solution in your stripper with that, with a copper strip. If you put fresh, loaded resin in there and it's not really coming out too fast, and you will need to replenish on the go too as you're monitoring. Say, our stripper will hold 3 cartridges, basically 1 kilogram. So we add in, like 100 or 200 grams of thiourea every time we change batches of resin to keep the thiourea content. I don't have a simple cheap titration or whatever for the thiourea at this point, although I'm sure it can be done. Okay. I think Chris Georgie once sent me a titration test for thiourea, but it's something that should not be difficult to measure in your concentration.
Brian says segregate a small sample of your stripping solution and time it.
Could be. You might take fresh solution and then as you go along take other samples and such, but again, what you're trying to do is see not how well it dissolves gold from gold, but how well it reliberates gold from an ion exchange resin. And that's a totally different question.
And
Your test may work. I don't know.
I'm still thinking I may take some of that supposedly regenerated resin that has all the sites open on it again, and I might try putting a small amount of it in a bucket of hot iron out.
Can't
Hot
hurt
water
to
and
try.
iron out.
Yeah.
After filtering pH, it drops to 7, so it might be part of why solution turned green. We'll keep the pH up next batch. Your stripping solution's an acid.
Your stripping solution should be a pH 1.
Yeah. Your leach solution.
Yeah, should be. Yeah, your leach solution for the Eco Goldex should be up there at 10.5 to 11.5, somewhere in that range. Okay, which solution are you talking about?
And yes, my stripping solution is green.
Yeah, I mean the stripping solution, it will, the pH will come up over time. Again, the sulfuric acid does get consumed.
Brian says 1.5 or 10.5. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too we found out is the pH of the stripping solution varies with temperature. So if you're measuring it at room temperature, what was it, about a 1.7? When you take it up to 60 C, goes down to about a 1.7 turns to about a 1.0, right?
Or right around there, and I usually get it down to about 0.9.
Yeah.
I'm aiming at 60 C. I'm aiming for about a 0.9.
Yeah. I say the stripping solution should be at about 1.
He means his leach solution after filtering.
Yeah,
Yeah, your leach solution should be up around 10.5 to 11.
yeah.
And yes,
If it's Eco Goldex, yep.
And
if it's cyanide, you need it a lot higher than that right now.
now, as a question here, John, after you filtered your leach solution and it dropped to 7, were you storing it somewhere? Because I can tell you this, when our leach solution is in those big white IBC containers and a certain temperature happens and a certain pH level happens, we get a serious algal bloom in there that I really want to test.
Yeah.
Because I am very, very suspicious of that algae.
Yeah. You need to keep the Eco Goldex, well, all leach solutions should be in a particular pH range, but the manufacturer says like 11 to 11.5. I found I get the best kinetics between 10 and 10.5. I don't know what would happen if it dropped to 7. I know what'll happen in a sodium cyanide solution if it drops to 7. The cyanide is going to immediately turn into hydrogen cyanide gas.
In another 55-gallon drum, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking this year I do want to paint those IBCs black or keep them covered to see if that stops the algae from happening.
Well, I'm sure it would help. We need to keep strips on them open, not painted, so that we can see the liquid level.
Yeah, I'm thinking on the non-sun side.
Yeah. Keep that thought, wage slave. I'll be back in a minute.
Well, apparently half of the psychotic leftist polled believe that killing the president is justified.
Yeah.
So just so you know. He'll be right back, guys. Well, John, I can tell you this. Our Eco Gold X is always kept between 10.5 and 11. The lowest,
10.
yeah. About 10, yeah. I've gotten it as low as 10. But sometimes when it's stored, it will drop to 9 or so. But even so, even at that alkalinity, I've gotten serious algal bloom in my IBCs. Now, that said, there are some things you can do to check your green. I mean, quite obviously, if you open your 55-gallon drum and it smells like pond scum, then you may have an algal bloom going on. You can also take some of it and look at it under a microscope if you happen to have one of those, you know. And yeah, wage slave, that's what I'm wondering. I am wondering, and I have been for some time, whether the pine needles from the dang tree that keep getting into our tank, and onto the pad, or the algae, are in fact preg robbing. That's what it's called. When you've got pregnant solution and some form of organic gets in there and grabs the gold. It's called preg robbing. I'm going to be testing for that this coming year if we do it. But John, if yours is getting deep green from the iron, your leach solution should not be getting down to like 7 or anything. So there is that. Well, honey bunny, I'm pretty sure it's algae because it actually looks like little plants.
It's scum on top.
It's a scum on top, and it is plants. I've looked at it under the microscope. It's botanicals. So there is that. But yeah, it's an interesting little problem that we developed last year. So this year on my list, I've got several things to do. The first thing I'm doing is, just so I am not left behind here, people, while Yo-Yo is writing his book with all the nice fancy flow charts to teach people the decision process to develop your entire milling system in a nice little book that's turning out really good. I'm also writing one about the business side of the mine. I'm putting together all of my lab forms, my experiment forms, my tracking forms in a nice little PDF format, along with helpful things like my standard ratios for a standard smelt, my standard ratios for an acid smelt, the way I do things in that regard. So that if you grab the little PDF, you have a nice set of paperwork for keeping detailed mine records, for keeping track of your assays, keeping track of what is sent out to the lab, keeping track of your experiments and the results of experiments, so that at the end of the year, you can just close the books on your year, you can do all the little math, and you can find out how much money you lost, or if you made anything, you can keel over from shock, you know. But it's a good way to keep track of what you're doing on the lab side of it. Because I have to tell you, watching this dude here try to negotiate my lab has been horrifying. It's been truly horrifying, people, I'll tell you that. And the guy who comes over to visit him, zero organization skills, zero process control going on anywhere, zero tracking anywhere. Yeah, I'm having heart failure, so I'm going to make a PDF, and mine is not going to be expensive like his. Okay.
Anyhow, this is Eco Goldex solution. This was actually reacting with Montana before. What?
Well, you spelled kombucha the wrong way, Slade, but yeah, maybe it is a SCOBY.
Okay. But anyhow, this is 30.4 parts per million gold right here. And this was actually recovered from the rock itself. So that gives you some idea what color our stuff is.
When it's settled and everything.
Yeah, when all
I will say this. When it's in the tank and it's been agitating, it is mud colored. When I get like a 50 cc vial of it and it's sitting in my lab for 3 days, it'll be clear straw yellow at the top and a crap load of sediment at the bottom.
Yeah. So anyhow, I thought I'd just show you what ours looks like. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
But yeah, I am putting together a business PDF so that you can pull your mind together, get some freaking process control going, tracking numbers and all that happy stuff, so that you can track things and you know what's going on.
Anyhow, any other questions, John? Glad we're able to help you out there.
Pickens says,
Pickens.
hi all, lurking in the shadows, rarely post, easy placer and dial Omega, and now heading west to work claims in Montana and Arizona. Well, cool, Pickens, you get to our part of Montana, you better come say hi.
Yeah, just let us know.
John says he's using the S-type, so the solution's very orange. Now, I did notice, John, because we had some of the S-type hanging around too.
Yeah, we had S-type. Supposedly all of it was S-type.
I did
There's a
notice
difference.
that the
Yeah.
S-type tended to make a different color between the two ores. What we're getting from top of the hill, when I can get it to settle at all, is a significantly lighter color than what I was getting in the more iron-rich areas of Montana Bay. There were some times when I had decidedly orange solution.
Anyhow, does it look like you're getting good gold recovery on your electrodes in the cell, John? Does the stripping circuit seem to be working okay? You have to let us know how much gold per cartridge you're getting. By the way, Tricky Dicky gave me what he believes to be the formula for the KD3, so we should be able to duplicate that if we need to.
He's very happy with the results so far.
Good, John.
Does the thermocouple in your bench top ever wear, according to asking Wage Slave here?
Thermocouple, in your...
In the tabletop kiln.
I don't know.
Well, we do know it's an inaccurate one now.
I know it's slightly inaccurate now, but I don't know if that's because of the reconfiguration I've done or physical damage to it. I did bend it a little bit when I was relining things. So I really do not know. Okay? It should be easy to replace, and I don't know how much it would be. Okay, John. Appreciate it. Glad to help you out.
And always glad to hear from people so that we can collect more information over here.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, if anybody has any questions or suggestions about the business side of mining paperwork that you would like to see in my project, go ahead and either email them or write them down over there. What's in it so far is my assay paperwork for running a single assay, one for running a multiple assay, you know, like 2 or 3 duplicates, one for the mill ore processing form where you track how your tank works from start to finish. Hi, Jean-Francois. My experiment paperwork, as I call it, which is the form that we use for conducting experiments, for tracking experiments, and a bead inventory form, a gold inventory form. Well, metal inventory form.
Hello, Jean-Francois. I'm still hanging in there, seem to be doing okay. So that's good. Evis seems to be healing up all right.
Bonsoir, Jean-Francois. Comment allez-vous?
She's showing off, that's all.
Oh, really?
Si, signora.
I'm having some issues with my photo editing program. Okay.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, honey bunny.
A mí me gusta.
Yeah, I seem to be doing okay. We got quite a bit of testing and therapy to go through to figure out exactly what's that. But seems to be going okay.
Honey Bunny, can you please email that link to us if you want us to look at something?
Anyhow.
The CDC doctor monitoring bad COVID vaccine reactions may have possibly deleted his files, according to Senator Ron Johnson.
Oopsie. Purely accidental, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, because as usual, I can't do anything about that. So,
anyhow, anyone else got any questions or subject to bring up? How things going with you, Jean-Francois?
you'll be able to see the screen in a minute, guys. I'm trying to
doing
do something here.
So I will look totally blank because my mind is totally blank.
No, that's not going to work, I don't think.
What's that? Is that the...
Might actually be able to do it this way.
That's the shovel.
Yeah, it's the algicide.
Okay. I think that's just the handle to the hammer there. Stick it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
Nothing is going in my leach solution, period, end of story. No, that's okay, honey bunny. Nothing is going in my leach solution.
Yeah.
What I do want to do is I want to get those tanks disinfected before we put the solution back in it. 60 Cs is 1 kilogram of gold and worth 144,000 Canadian, huh?
60 cc's.
Somewhere up here, somebody was talking
know.
about.
That's 19 grams per cc. So 1 kilogram divided by 19. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Brian says he just moved the computer to the lab. Well, just an FYI, Brian, one thing I am looking at for my little bookie PDF idea is I'm planning to turn my personal worksheets that I use into fillable PDF forms as well. So that if somebody did not want to do what I do, which is what all sane, safe people do, and print them out and make physical copies because shit happens to technology, I'm planning on having a set of the forms in there that you can just fill out. So you can fill out the form, save it, and it goes into a nice little folder. I'm also looking at developing an Excel sheet, but I am not great with Excel.
anyhow, that's kind of the situation here. Next week might be an interesting live stream because, say, I'm theoretically be having a gentleman over here taking a class all day long, and currently I do not know how much he would like to share or not share about things. So we'll see. We might get a lot of great video out of things, and we might have a really interesting live stream, but we'll just be playing it from here. You know? 15 seconds. What's your bleach to water ratio, Brian? Or is that just you're brushing them? Mm. Mm. Yeah. I seem to be feeling much more normal this week than I was last week. Not as weak, not quite as sleepy. Dip for 20 minutes and 7.5 bleach with no water dilution. Wow. Any other thoughts on the liquid tin sluice box? Have to be pretty hot. Yeah. It's operated at ambient temperature, honey bunny. We have no way of heating or cooling it. So it's probably anywhere from freezing to, I think the most we have is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
The tank, what's the body temperature?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any capacity to get anywhere near high temperatures in those tanks. Yeah, it's just when you have a very limited budget, you have limited options. But I think we've done pretty good for what we've had to work with. But we shall see what we shall see in the future here. Again, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next year or two, but I get the feeling it's going to be kind of dynamic. And I don't just mean in a more general situation, but our personal situation. I just get the feeling that there's going to be a lot of interesting
Dynamism.
changes and stuff. So we shall see what we shall see. And I just hope my heart isn't significantly damaged so I can get back to full capacity pretty quickly.
Mold can live above 100 C, yeah. Well, what we have is algae. It's definitely not mold.
Yeah, it's algae.
I know that. And by the way, the highest temperature I ever recorded in the agitation tank was body temperature.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because probably we might be able to add just a little bit of like copper sulfate or something too, for all I know. I don't think it's a real serious issue at this point, but we haven't done enough testing to find out. Sleepy.
I know something else we have to go shopping for tomorrow.
What?
Soda.
Soda? Okay. And we gotta go walking too.
Yeah.
Eva tries to walk a mile every day in a store in the park. I'm getting a little tired, but maybe. We'll see what happens. Are you out of soda?
No. I'm just saying it because tomorrow it's going to be a busier day. You got the rooms and your cardio and getting my new phone set up. Nato Kines, YouTube Physionics channel has some, well, yeah, Nato is good stuff.
Is that for the heart damage or for something else, Jean-Francois? Uh, Isn't it just all uphill, honey bunny? Hey, Tricky, how's it going? You in the Philippines or are you still in England?
Hi, Tricky!
Oh.
I'm intelligent but not smart, so can I pre-order a copy of both your books? I do well hands-on and written material.
Basically, sure, picking. You know, once we get them written. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope things are going well. Okay. Thank you, Jean-Francois.
0244 in the UK. Yes, it is, Tricky. So Tricky's still in the UK, yeah.
Yeah. But when you get back to the Philippines, get the babies. I presume the family is still in the Philippines, or are they with you?
As Jean-Francois says, it's fibrinolytic. It dissolves clots.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Tricky, lots been going on here, too. I don't think Tricky knows you had a heart attack, does he?
Yeah, he does. I
Okay.
emailed. Yeah. It was a whole lot more comfortable than getting zapped off a light pole. Oh, it's been so rough on Eva. Yeah, I thought probably so tricky, but yeah, I was really not very uncomfortable at any time, so not too stressed. Eva, on the other hand, was very stressed out about some things. Yeah, but I didn't feel very panicky because I didn't feel very bad at any time. I don't know. I don't know if it's bravery, stupidity, or just detachment. Yeah,
Wow.
I think so too, Tricky.
This is unbelievable.
So, yeah, I seem to be doing, as far as I can tell, Tricky, I seem to be doing fine. But we haven't had a chance to safely increase my exertion to the point where we can evaluate. But so far, we haven't run into the limits.
Yeah, we do not, he's not taking warfarin, as a matter of fact. The only thing he's taking is the Plavix.
Yeah.
He's not taking an anticoagulant. Are you guys getting the video well? Oh, great. It's been recording the whole time. Crap. Gonna have to find that again. Are you guys seeing the video well and everything? And yeah, you're right, Tricky. We're not spring chickens anymore.
Yeah, I'm not taking it easy. I'm taking it careful. I got lots of stuff to do, and hopefully I'll be able to get back at least pretty close to speed. But I need to be careful. But I need to get up to speed if I possibly can. I got a lot to do.
I cannot believe this.
What?
We're actually having a serious discussion about COVID vaccine damage in the conservative sub on Reddit. Okay, as long as the video's coming through. So, yeah. Because I was getting an error message over here on YouTube, and I was like, wait a minute.
Tricky's seeing it good in the UK, so it's going international just fine. Well, I guess Jean-Francois is also international, but it's standard landlines, not transatlantic. Thank you, David. So, anyhow, here, Tricky and Jean-Francois. This is kind of pretty. This is a 10-gram bead of
Pure silver.
Silver from the X-ray film.
All nice and sprouted.
Yeah. It looks so good, I'm going to keep this one. So.
Yeah. On Reddit. That's the funny part, Honey Bunny. Reddit was banning people a year ago for even daring to do anything but worship the vaccine.
Thank you, Jean-Francois.
And
yeah,
Fauci.
We got good internet here now.
Yeah, it is pretty silver. We're going to be testing, by the way, we'll find out tomorrow, we may be testing our T-Mobile internet service that's available on the next live stream, because if that internet works well for live streams and for uploading things, it will save us a nice little chunk of change every single month. I mean, and with the way things are going, you can't turn down spare money. Spare money is kind of important right now.
So.
Wow, France wants to make their one-off wealth tax permanent now. Oh dear.
Well, that'd be good, Honey Bunny. So, anyone else got any subjects or questions or anything at this point?
Quite white. Film silver is often showing yellowish oxidation, so yours must be pretty pure. Ours is beautiful.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. Ours is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it should be pretty pure because, I rinsed the silver chloride in hot water 3 or 4 times.
No yellow, and I put it through a full smelt. We used litharge to make a button and turn the buttons into beads. So I do everything I can to get a pure product over here.
Should be pretty pure.
Yeah, Tricky. We do all need spare cash these days.
Well, as I say, we shall see what we shall see. But all things considered, I'm doing pretty good. He was still hovering over me like a couple of angry H-64 Apaches. Eva would like more silver too.
Yeah. I would love more silver.
And we shall have to see what's going on with this film. So I think
Sorry you're not feeling well, Honey Bunny.
I think the process that we got figured with the buckets, it works pretty fast. We can do about 2 kilograms an hour. So he's got, 400 pounds was his guess. So 400 divided by 2 is 200. Divided by 2 is 100. 100 hours. Let's say I spent a couple hours a day in the evening around dinner time. So a couple of months, we should get through it. The question is, how do we shred it all efficiently?
Oh, and Arizona is apparently going to be taking as many as 50,000 non-citizens off their voter rolls. I wonder if they're going to take us off.
Sounds good, Jean-Francois. It's also good about spike protein, I believe.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be looking at getting some natto kinase.
Yeah.
It's on my list of things we need to get.
Hey, Patrick.
Your phone went poof too, Patrick?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with a phone with a bad battery and I'm just waiting. Ah, Brian says just in, I can skip most of my process. Really? Tell us what's going on with that.
Obviously, you got some kind of pre-treatment there, yeah? Yeah, Jean-Francois. Skip. Skip what, Brian? We're on the edge of our seat. Here, look. I'm on the edge of my seat.
900 pounds of ore and got sunburned as well. Wow, that's pretty darn good, John.
Yeah. If you don't mind saying, about what ore grade do you think you're getting there, John?
Patrick says poof's all over the place. Is sitting in a tin drum of vinegar just in case.
Well, Eva's going to get a new phone tomorrow. This battery's comes they sell. When we go to sleep at night, we put it in a metal trash can on a fireproof surface with a lid on it.
I am going to be going and plugging this in for a while. Step 1, dip in bleach for 5 minutes.
Okay. Hey, honey bunny. Sometimes I don't even know who I am. I guess that makes me really sneaky.
He says half an ounce.
That's not bad. Not real exciting, but not bad.
2,000 fibrinolytic units. A typical capsule is about 60 grams of natto fermented soybeans, about 1 serving.
Okay.
Dip in the rinse for 5 seconds. Okay. Dip in bleach for 5 minutes. Dip in rinse for 5 seconds.
Yeah, basically nattokinase.
Yeah, natto is fermented soybeans.
Because, man, it's always better if it's fermented.
Patrick says, good idea. Been seeing all his little batteries catching fire stuff. Yep.
Yeah, did you see that recycling plant in Scotland that went up again? Man.
The one in California after the wildfires, it had already caught fire once and then it went out. So
Yeah, but that wasn't a recycling plant.
Step 3 is a paintbrush for 20 seconds.
Yeah. 8 brush for 20 seconds to loosen it up, huh? And then what, Brian? Oh.
We can try to find some actual natto in the
Dip and
store.
rinse for 20 seconds.
While I remember, do you have any ideas regarding electrostatic separation on dry ore?
No.
Yeah, Patrick, we're talking about blood thinning amongst everything else.
Not in particular. I know that the Center for Advanced Material Processing over at Butte has electrostatic separation test equipment. Yeah. I am working on that, wage slave. Eva's reviewing all my dietary stuff, and plus my stomach is not able to eat as much as I used to. So we're trying to make some adjustments so that I'm eating mostly, getting plenty of protein.
Yeah. Wage slave, we already eat keto.
Yeah.
The only reason he's not eating carnivore at this point, not because I wouldn't like it, but because he suffers from food boredom, and he already has, now that he has had that hiatal hernia surgery, he doesn't have the capacity in his stomach that he used to have. But I can't have him suffering food boredom and getting psychologically upset with his food.
Yeah.
He's one of these people that needs to have satisfaction in his diet.
John, have you done assays on your tailings? How good a recovery are you getting?
Dogs with heart attacks had much improved outcome of taking. Well, he ain't a dog, dude. But
200 FU. That's a neat unit.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, I can look for. Well, he won't drink tea. I can tell you that. He does not drink hot liquids to begin with. Oh, wage slave, he gets more than enough exercise, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, food boredom for some people really is bad. It does not affect me. So you need to sit back so the top of your head ain't getting cut off.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he's one of these people that needs variety in his diet. He gets food boredom. He's a ridiculously picky person. It's disgusting. I don't know how this happened. He's the one who will sit there and say, "I'm not picky." Oh hell yes, absolutely.
Femto units.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
I like cloves and ginger too. I actually love ginger tea. I like herbal teas too. I was looking at trying to find some place in town where I could buy a small quantity of actual natto. We can probably find it at the bougie stores,
probably.
would be my guess.
Try order it on Amazon.
Well, I just want a very small amount, even if it costs a lot, because I don't want you to end up getting something that when you try to eat it, you absolutely hate it. And let's face it, you are picky.
I don't know. Some things I like, some things I don't. I'm not picky about how. I mean, meat, fire, good. You know, just I don't like blood coming out of it. You know. You're the one with nuances. You know, it's like grass-fed beef. It doesn't taste wonderful. It tastes like beef.
We're getting several people interested in the Cameroon Gold Project and Wolframite Nodule Project in Algeria. Well, that's cool. Now, I would love to see some pictures of some nice wolframite.
Okay, so is the wolframite nodules, is that specimen stuff, or is that basically for the tungsten? Yeah. Kind of a. You need a snake now?
I think you need steak. You gotta drink your Ketoade too, by the way.
It could be a steak or a steak.
The Ketoade.
Not now. I can't drink that stuff straight. I gotta have something else to eat with it.
Jean-Francois, there are no Chinese grocery stores in Helena, Montana.
The wee hairy cows. I like those hairy cows. They're cute. Yeah.
Snack is what Tricky was saying.
Okay.
Tricky, at least your stupid phone is still working. Mine has become severely hazardous and I'm waiting for a warranty replacement. Mind you, I still had 9 payments to make on this phone. It's still under warranty. All I want for Christmas is a phone I can change the fucking battery in.
Well, the other thing is nowadays when you get a new phone, you spend half a day transferring all your apps and photos and all that other shit, you know?
Well, it's
insane.
What happened last time is what's going to happen this time. It will take them 15 minutes or 10 minutes in the store to pull all that stuff off my Google, get it on the new phone. But then it will take me another 3 or 4 hours to get logged into everything again, change all my passwords. The wolframite nodules are on the surface, just scrape them with a payloader. By interest, I mean interest by finance guys. Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, but let's say, are you selling those nodules
I
for
want one.
specimens or for the tungsten in it? You know? Good Lord, woman.
Damn it.
I can't see anything now.
Yeah, Patrick.
For the tungsten, okay.
Drama plus indeed, Patrick.
I have no idea, Wage Slave.
Tricky, I have not seen the new Tesla phones. I don't want to buy a Tesla phone. As a matter of fact, since, you know, I am now on the warpath when it comes to Elon and Tesla. Elon has pissed me off. The Doge thing is great, okay? It's the scammy stuff on X that is pissing me off. So.
And even though Elon Musk is the richest man on earth and a very powerful person, she's decided that she is going to take him on and make him wish he hadn't been so annoying to her.
Not for specimens. Big quantities, yep.
Okay, cool.
Bummer. I want specimens.
Well,
No,
good luck on that, Jean-Francois. Keep us informed. Oh, goodness. Time is it?
It is now 8:04.
Wow, 2 hours. Pretty quick.
Well, we do have walking to do and we do have groceries to buy.
Okay. Eva says we got exercise to do. So let's see if anyone's got any fresh subjects or anything to bring up.
Honey Bunny is trying to negotiate a deal with Jean-Francois. Well, Tricky Dicky. I'm not a fan of electric vehicles. But more than that, well, let me get. I'm going to get in the ranting chair so that I can inform you all on the
Shenanigans.
on the matter of Elon here. So, as you all know, I have been on X. And one of my friends on X, and I'm using that in quotation marks, gave me a blue check, Premium Plus, back in November.
Pretty good,
Now,
Brian.
because of my moral code, I felt that I had to make the fullest possible use of this gift that I did not ask for. And part of making the fullest possible use of the gift was to get my happy self monetized on X so I could determine whether the monetization program was as bad as it looked from the outside, so I could determine whether I should recommend it to anybody or not. Which meant I had to spend a whole lot of what Elon calls #regretted user seconds, becoming a fan of Italian reality TV, and now a fan of Colombian reality TV, and Mexican reality TV, and Argentinian reality TV, so that I could get enough impressions to get 5 million with an M impressions in 3 months, 90 days, to become monetized. So, I got monetized this past week. And, well, 2 weeks ago. A couple of days before he got his heart attack. I got monetized. And the other day was the very first payday. Now, I will let you know, it took me almost an hour to set up a Stripe account. Okay? Because Stripe is a system that really does not want to make it easy for you to use. Just saying. And, of course, Elon just had to use that. Okay? So, I get my first payout. My first payout was
10 grams, Mr. Virtue.
My first payout was $109.10. That covered all of my activities back to the day Elon bought X. Technically, it covered all my activities back to the day I got that blue check plus in November. So from November to April, over 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, being miserable and pissed off on X, and I got paid $109.10. That's not exactly why Elon pissed me off, but that was part of why Elon pissed me off. Why Elon pissed me off is the same reason he's pissing off all his premium users right now. First off, there have been 4 rate increases in less than a year, okay? You don't raise your rates 4 times in less than a year while drastically decreasing your customer service. This is generally a very bad idea, okay? Number 2, there was another update to Grok. And, let's put it this way. Grok used to be,
happy and pretty crappy at art. You could get some decent art out of it, but not all that much. Now, you can't get any decent art out of Groke, and Groke flat out lies to you about the actual news. And then, when you tell Groke he's lying, and you show him when you tell Groke it's lying, and you show it the truth, it gives you friggin' attitude and snarks on you. Now, the other day, I asked Groke to analyze my profile because, you have to do this every once in a while to find out how badly you're being throttled this week. Not whether you're being throttled, but how badly you're being throttled. And Groke decided, as part of his analysis, part of the analysis of my account, that I was spamming X with my AI art fails. Now, the reason Groke said that is because I don't use it to make art anymore. I use DALL-E 3 to make art. And I freely tell anybody who asks that Groke is delusional and generally full of shit and should not be used. Because it is. It's worse than your average AI, and they are all bad, okay? I'm not a fan of AI. I don't like AI. I think it should go away. It's going to kill humanity. But that's beside the point. The problem with old Elon is when it comes to his monetization model, he created a Ponzi scheme with extra steps, okay? A whole lot of his premium users are now very, very upset because the written rules are so vague as to be unenforceable in any court of law and in any contract law. And every single pay period, without fail, just before they roll out the pay statements, hundreds to thousands of blue check accounts will magically get suspended, and you're never told why you violated the rules. And the other time people have been known to get suspended is within 5 days of paying the annual fee on their subscription, because guess what? There's no refunds on that subscription, the one that's gone up 4 times in a year. So yeah, I mean, he has built a monetization scheme that is a Ponzi scam with extra steps. He has no transparent rules. The few written down rules that are good. Groke 3 lies about a lot of stuff on technical research. Jean-Francois, people have been catching him at it lately. So you might want to double check your stuff.
You're getting anthropomorphic.
Yeah, I forgot. But anyway, the few rules that there are so vague as to be unenforceable. The few rules that are not vague, that are crystal clear, are very selectively enforced on people. And yes, we are still getting, we're still getting mass harassed as conservatives on X. It's getting a little ugly with the psychotic left over there, and nothing is happening because, of course, it's a free speech platform. Unless you're a certain persuasion and you say certain things, and then all of a sudden it ain't a free speech platform anymore. But yeah.
Sure, it is free speech against you.
I am not the only person who's annoyed, but I am annoyed because a friend of mine spent good money that I never asked her to spend. She decided to spend it, and that was her choice. But she spent good money for not only her subscription, but she bought me a gift subscription. And the service is going in the toilet. The customer service is going in the toilet. And that is unacceptable to me.
What do you mean customer service?
I mean, if you try to get in touch with support at X, to get an answer to anything, you'll get a canned AI written message that says, "Hi, we'll get back to you whenever," and basically they never get back to you. Or they'll say, "Hi, I'm escalating this to a human being," and a human being never gets back to you. I have people
I agree,
that
Jean-Francois.
are friends that paid $400 for a year's subscription, that have been waiting weeks for replies from support from a human being. Emailing, contacting them every day. Support, I'm still having this problem with my account that I paid fucking $30 a month for.
Uh-huh.
And they're getting nothing. That's wrong. Okay? It's wrong to, yes, Tricky, hundreds of thousands of people have been messaging him. And last week, he was complaining about his own damn algo, as though he asked for us to give him our thoughts on his algo. He got like 10,000 freaking public messages, and who knows how many private messages, telling him just how shit his algo is right now. Okay? He knows. Of course, this is the same guy who the day after he said, if you don't like H-1B visa holders, you should get F'd in your face, then came on the next day and said, there's too much negativity on this platform. From now on, the algo will reward hashtag positive vibes only. Well, funny, because all the people he retweets are not positive vibes. Okay? He claims he wants long-form content that is hard-hitting and detailed. If you like long-form content that is hard-hitting and detailed, it gets suppressed. If I write a 20-word comment, if I write a comment that's like 140 characters that has actual solid information in it, it will get less than half the impressions of 5 words that is stupid bullshit. He claims that the algo is going to weed out all the engagement farmers, so only people that are writing actual useful stuff are going to make money. Well, the top earners every single pay period are the people who every hour their account has an automated 3-word post. Coffee or tea? Pineapple, yay or nay? Coke or Pepsi? Cold or hot coffee? That kind of bullshit. Okay? Those are the people that are earning $1,000 every 2 weeks.
I'm not sure about anyone right now, Patrick.
Okay?
I don't have a clear read on anybody.
And on top of that, he says, oh, we set it up so that Premium Plus members can market their articles, and their articles will get to so many people, and their articles are going to get them great public, great attention, and they'll make so much money. Nobody reads those articles. And now, all of a sudden, a couple of weeks ago, a wonderful new thing arrived. A great, new, and wonderful thing arrived. Okay? When you make a post, you now have a little button in it that says promote, just like the one on Scammer Facebook. When you click on that promote button, it says if you pay me an extra $100, I will guarantee that between 27,000 and 54,000 impressions will happen in one day. $100 for one day. 54,000, up to 54,000 impressions. Well, guess what? I actually had a post of mine. It got 54,000 impressions. It got almost no engagement. And guess what you get paid on? You don't get paid on impressions, people. You get paid on engagements. But you don't even get paid on engagements from the non-verified accounts. And oh gee, it turns out that less than 2% of all X accounts are verified users. So if you have something go viral and it gets 50,000 engagements, and only 2,000 of those engagements are from verified users, that's all you're going to get paid for. Which means that the blue check people all of a sudden don't want to spend any time talking to the unverified people at all. Just saying.
Virtue says, how can I get on promo post?
Mr. Virtue, if you've got something you want to promote on X, you can send it to me and you can pay for it. But I'll tell you, Every single post you make on X, if you're a blue check now, every single post I've made since that thing came on is asking me if I want to promote it. And it doesn't just ask anymore with the little button in the corner. Half the time it pops up a nice big screen that covers my whole page on my phone and says, do you want to promote this post? This is how great it will be if you promote this post. And then you have to, no thanks, or I'll try it later. And you cannot make that shit stop.
Hey, Patrick, there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on nowadays.
And it is, I mean, Elon says, he talks out his mouth and says, we want to be the media. Well, all the investigative journalists out there that aren't his special pet accounts that he likes so much don't get shit for traffic. Okay? He says, we want long-form quality content. The people that get paid are the engagement farmers and the blue checks that steal memes and steal creative content from non-verified and other verified users and post it without any attribution whatsoever.
Calm down a little, honey bunny. Oh.
He claims that the article thing is going to be this great, fantastic thing, better than any other article site out there. The people who are writing damn good articles can't get anybody to read them. Half the time the links don't work. Half the time you can't repost them or share them on your own timeline because the share option does not work properly. And they get almost no content. People, I know people that will spend 2 or 3 hours writing really good stuff. It's not getting seen by anybody. Unless you want to promote it, of course. And if you promote it, you're still not actually getting anything. You're getting an impression. There's no guarantee of engagement. It is the exact same scammer promotion shit that Zuck the Cuck sells over on Facebook. It just happens to be twice as expensive. Go figure. So yeah, that is a little summary of all the things that myself and many, many other blue checks have been telling Elon for months now. But Elon is not paying attention to anybody, okay? He shows up and he'll repost with a couple of laughing emojis, and he always tells us, oh, don't use just a single emoji to reply to things because, you know, the algorithm, oh yeah, well, funny. All of his pets can do it. Nobody else can. Go figure. All of us have told him.
So what are you going to do about it?
Well, actually, I'm telling everybody I know that wants to actually make money where to go to actually make money. And I'm going to set up our websites on Hub Pages and Medium and Substack, which are free services, by the way. And what I'm going to do is every goddamn month, I'm going to post my figures side by side on X. So that every month I can do, you know, because I did the math. Based on what I know currently, it will take me about 3 months unless something really crazy happens before I get paid on X again. And I'm pretty sure I can find a way to earn money on the other sites before then. And won't it look nice to have a nice side-by-side thing, you know? Have X on this side and say Medium on this side. And say X costs you $30. You ain't making shit. You have to spend 100 hours a month on it, you know, or 200 or 300 hours a month on it. Medium on this side, you know, you're making money, etc., etc.
How about your
And show people.
novels?
And I'm going to be writing romance novels that are designed to piss Elon off. I am annoying them now anyway. Because I did find an actual legit way within the rules to make it to 5 million impressions in 90 days without breaking the rules at all, you know. Whereas what, Brian? The websites we're going to be building, well, the content sites we will be opening accounts on. 3 different types. They're all free, okay? You have Hub Pages. Hub Pages is an affiliate type site. It's a site where you write long form content and you can post videos, etc. and you get established in your niche, and then you join their partner program, and you can market, like if you talk about a product like gold pans or whatever, people can click on the link within the article, and when they go buy it from, yes, hub pages, from Amazon or the other places they partner with, you get a cut of that money. It is free to join. Okay? The second one is a site called Medium, as in small, medium, and large. Medium is a site where you write long-form contents, and you can develop followers. You get followers, and you encourage followers. You can be added to people's curated publishing lists. So say you started a medium on nutrition. You can end up, somebody could decide to include the novels, Honey Bunny, are going to be on Amazon, and I already know how to market them. It's not like I'm going to be charging much for them. They're going to be ebooks. They're frankly going to be written as a nice satirical, people fall in love way. I'm telling the whole world what a scam X is, okay? That's the main purpose here. The main purpose is to troll Elon. And since all the titles are going to be hashtags, when I get all my friends talking about them on X, that trolls Elon again, because Elon hates hashtags. Oopsie. It depends on your long-form content, Brian. If you want to sell things, like, for instance, if you were writing long-form content, I have a friend who makes good money selling blood pressure cuffs, of all things, and other medical supplies. Things like blood pressure cuffs and home first aid kits, etc. That's his niche. So he writes long-form content about, reviewing, side-by-side review of product A and product B or whatever. And, he gets a good check from hub pages every once in a while, like once a month. And that's a pretty high payout site. You need to make $50 there before you get your payout. So he makes about $50 a month minimum, just talking about various home appliances, various home first aid things, and, that way. And doing unboxing videos. Yes, you can do unboxing videos. Medium is a site where you're writing more articles and people can go back and forth. People can leave you comments. You can have conversations, etc., etc. And as you gather followers, your followers have the option. Free users can read like 5 articles a month on Medium, okay? Your followers will get an email that says, you follow this person just published a brand new article. So Medium makes it a point to try to get people to come in and read your work. And then as you grow in the community, say a person is curating a publication, as they call it. It's a newsletter where they pull together all the best links of nutrition stuff they're interested in. And you write nutrition stuff. If they like your work, they'll include your work in their publication, which exposes you to their entire follower list. The way you get paid there is people can buy a subscription. Their subscriptions are a flat rate, and they're very inexpensive and well worth it, as a matter of fact. You got one for $5 a month, one for $15 a month. And when your followers are subscribed, you get a cut of the subscription money. And that's the way Medium works. Substack is a more professional site. If you were a technical writer, like dude over here, if you're a technical writer, Substack, or you're a deep dive politics writer, or you're a deep dive economics writer, or a deep dive history writer, it's a more professional site. Totally free. Free to use, free to everything. You set up your Substack, and you gather followers, and then you set up a subscription. And the only thing that you pay, so to speak, is Substack keeps 10% of the subscription fee. So he sets up a subscription for $5 a month that gets his users 2 articles a month plus a video or something. Substack gets 10% of that, plus the credit card fee.
I don't have to take off my clothes, right?
One would hope not. Then we'd have to give a lot of refunds, dude.
No, they will pay me not to.
Yeah, they'll pay you not to take off your clothes. Yes, hashtag world according to Adiva. Just about. But that's the thing, is these are all places where it costs you nothing to write. And you can make money, and their rules are clear. Their policies are clear, and they have good customer service. So, right there. Hashtags are search terms. And they're very, very useful. On X, for instance, I was watching an Italian Big Brother. Of course, in Italian, it's called Grande Fratello. Well, now, when you're writing about that show, if you use the hashtag Grande Fratello, and you happen to be writing about the main character, Judy, who is a beautiful girl, she's a former Miss Italy, you instantly go from your ordinary 10 or 12 impressions to several hundred impressions. Because all of the fans are used to the other social media like TikTok and Instagram, where hashtags are the way you search. If I'm on TikTok and I want to find out about Grande Fratello, I put in hashtag Grande Fratello, and it will bring me up every single TikTok that is related to that show. And then I can look at the other tags they're associated with, and some of them are going to be Helena fans, some of them will be Judy fans, some of them will be Lorenzo fans for some bizarre reason. So they're a search term. Elon doesn't like them. He thinks they're ugly. He says you don't have to use them on X. X works without them. Well, X works a hell of a lot better with them. Just saying, you know. But yeah, I mean, basically what annoys me, if I had decided to buy a year's premium when it was still cheap and on sale back last November when everybody was buying it because it was on sale and cheap, I would be personally pissed off for me that the system was as bad a scam as I thought it was looking from the outside. But my feeling toward the matter would be only a matter of, well, I screwed up. I wasted money. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I know better. And that would basically be it. I don't like the fact he's scamming other people. Okay? I'm pissed off. I am offended. Well,
Your wah is disturbed.
my wah is disturbed because I have friends that make genuinely good content that were hoping to be able not even to make big bucks, but just be able to pay for the monthly subscription with, $30 or $40 left over to go toward the phone bill or something. $100 a month. I can make $100 a month on my free reward programs. Okay? I don't need to write it off. But these are people who have good stuff. They have good content, and they deserve to be on platforms where the rules are transparent, the customer service is good, and they're not paying to be screwed over. So I'm on the warpath. Yes, I am. It's a lot to annoy me, but I will not let a car salesman get the better of me.
See why I try not to.
And Elon
Annoy
is
her.
nothing but a freaking scammy car salesman. Just saying. He's a freaking scammy car salesman. And no, EVs are not green. EVs are another big-ass scam. They're dangerous. They're stupid. Therefore, no. Quite simple. End of story.
So we're supposed to go out and get some exercise still?
Yes, this is the end of my rant. Bye. And remember, silver and gold are still on sale. If you don't hold it, you don't own it.
Okay.
All y'all guys should talk amongst them somewhere.
Okay, so if there's any questions or whatever,
put them up now. Aside from that, we'll probably call it a week, and we'll see what happens next week, etc. I will definitely be here. I'm not sure exactly what the format's going to be, etc. Could be interesting. We shall see what we shall see.
Yeah.
Anyhow, still taking it easy, but still getting things done. Just not exerting myself at any one particular time very much. Eva's getting better. Got some interesting projects, etc. Hey, Forrest.
Forrest, hi.
Well, Eva's recovering from surgery, and I had a heart attack 10 days ago, so things are a little interesting for us, but we seem to be doing okay. I'm doing the best I can, Tricky Dicky. So, I go to therapy tomorrow, and we'll find out more information then. So, we shall see what we've got. But, yeah, Forrest, we gotta get down the road here and get a little shopping done, get a little exercise done before we call it a night. I'm glad to see you. Try and show up a little earlier. I'm sorry, but I can't run forever. You just had one too? Man, I hope you're doing okay.
Forrest had one too?
I'm not sure how big your sheets are. 3 grams should be 1.5 pounds, somewhere around there. Thank you, John. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's no good, Patrick. Say, luckily I got to the hospital real quick, so not sure there's much damage. You want me to send you her email address? Is that what you're saying, Jean-Francois? I'm glad you're doing good. I'm doing pretty good too. Forrest had a heart attack too.
I heard, Forrest. That's awful. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, she has a YouTube channel, Jean-Francois. Honey Bunnies, whatever. It's the same thing as what she's got here. Okay, so I got your permission then, Honey Bunny. All right. I'll try to remember. Yeah. If you don't see it here in a day or two, send me an email to remind me, Jean-Francois. Oh. Okie dokie. Oh, well, I'm glad you're doing okay, Forrest. You be careful too. And
I'll be out there in just a minute, Bear.
okay. So paintbrush, remove black silver. Yeah, that would make sense, Brian. Huh. Yeah. Interesting, Patrick. I agree. Okay, Brian. Be interesting. I'm being real careful. Eva's hovering over me like a pair of angry Apache attack helicopters. So, if I try and do anything stupid, she'll make me pay.
Well, yeah.
Alrighty, I think I'm going to call it a night. So everybody, happy prospecting. Keep it safe out there. And Patrick and Forrest, you guys take care of yourself too. And I'll do the best I can for me. Take care.
Happy prospecting and keep it